Hello. Hey guys. Welcome to I don't know what I think should be a pep talk. This is the first time I'm doing anything like this, so I'm new to all these things. But I also feel like since there's just 3 weeks before INI, uh, it's a very tough time to be like mentally. There's a lot of self doubt that goes on at this time, and I feel like some insights from someone who's been through it and who's had some success, I think that might help ease some nerves. So I just wanted to share my experiences, and I also wanted to help alleviate any sort of doubts that you guys might have. A lot of self doubt creeps in. You don't know what you're doing, whether it's the right way to go. So we'll just talk about it. So yeah. So what I want to say about INI is the first and foremost thing is INI, especially, between NEET and INI, what I really feel is INI is more of a mindset game. And, that's easy to say. You might think I'm trying to sound cool saying that, but it's not very complex, is what I want to say. So INI has this sort of reputation for having some weird or tough questions, which is true. But ultimately, all these questions are centered around the same kind of concepts. It's just framed differently. And to approach these kind of questions in the exam, you need to have a good mindset. You need to be ready to be tackling those kind of new questions. You shouldn't be freaking out the moment you see some new word, some new concept. Like November 2025 INI had this new drug, it had these new genes, and it looked scary. But once you realized, the concept they're trying to test is something that we already know. They're all basic concepts. So yeah, so um, the exam is basically testing your ability to choose the right out of four options. So what does that mean? You don't have to actually know the exact answer, and preparing isn't trying to learn all that there is to know about every single thing in medicine. That is not how the approach to preparing is. It's the ability to know a few basic concepts and also to develop the ability to solve questions. So just knowing stuff does not get you a good rank in INI. It is the ability to solve questions. Likewise, you can get a really good rank even if you don't know that much. It's just a matter of practice. It's a matter of instinct, a matter of skill, which of course you build over time with GTs or Q banks, etc., etc. One minute, I have a little echo on my phone. Just give me a moment to solve that. Sure. Yeah. Okay, that's better. So yeah. Um. So there's only 3 weeks left. And what I would like to tell everyone is, now that the exam is near and nerves are at an all-time high, by now you should have a clear goal in mind. So suppose this is your very first time attempting INI. Let's say you just finished internship and you only had a couple months to prepare. Realistically, unless you've prepared from third year or fourth year, yeah, realistically your chances of getting into like top 50, top 100 ranks are a little less. So if you are willing to accept that and you want to give INI just to experience the exam, your mindset should be, okay, let me just do some PYQs at this stage. Let me understand what the exam is like. And then 6 months later, I'm going to go crack it. Because the truth is, the competition for May INI is more than November INI. Because people will give NEET, people will get ranks in NEET, and lesser people appear for November. So if this is your first time giving INI and you're not at your full stage of preparation, that's okay. You should still give the exam with whatever preparation that you can, and just get a feel for the exam. Don't take this lightly, and don't skip out at the last moment because you haven't prepared. It's okay not to be fully prepared for this exam. uh, Now suppose this is your second or third attempt. You've been preparing for a year. By now you know what specialty you want and what college that you want it in. You should be aware of the kind of rank that you need to get that seat. So when I was preparing, I did my UG in JIPMER, and I wanted to get back into JIPMER medicine. And I had the the privilege of institute quota. So in my case, I knew that if I wanted to get in just through institute quota, my rank should have been within 150. So that was my target. My target was never rank one, and that is important, and I will explain why. And suppose you want surgery, and to get surgery in INA, your rank should be around 400ish if you don't have any other categories working for you. The same will go for NEET. Now, I have not fully explored state colleges, so I never really knew what the cutoffs were. And after giving NEET only, did I learn that the cutoff for medicine is somewhere around 3,000th rank, and my rank was worse than that. And knowing what rank you need to get will tell you roughly how many corrects you need to get in the exam. It also tells you and it also tells you how many questions you have to leave in the exam, which is it sounds funny, but the thing is, you cannot go into INI thinking that you will attempt every single question. The paper is not framed that way. There will be some questions which are specifically designed to get you to mark the other option. You will get questions wrong, and the examiner will have some own his own thought process, which probably will not match yours. Some questions are bound to go wrong. So the ability of test taking is to know what questions to leave alone. I like to compare INI to a test match where not every ball has to be played. You have to leave the good balls alone so that you don't get out. uh, so yeah, I wanted to say that if you want a good rank in the exam, you do not need AIR-1 for any specialty. Now, the most competitive specialty in INI is medicine at AIMS Delhi, and the cutoff for that is rank 6. So you don't need rank 1 to get whatever specialty you want. You do not need to attempt every single question. You do not need to go in with a mindset that you have to get rank 1. You can go in with the mindset that you need to get rank 10. Okay. You're ultimately every single negative answer, every question left blank, it all adds up. In my case, especially, ranks one, two, three had all the same marks. The only difference was they attempted every single question. I left 4 questions blank. So we had the same marks. I had less negatives, and that's why I was rank one. And that still doesn't matter if you think about it. We all got the specialties that we wanted. They joined AIMS Medicine, and I've joined JIPMER Medicine. So a question that I get a lot is, what do you do about guesses? And obviously, in the exam, you are going to guess some questions because there will be questions that you've never seen before, and you can't just leave them because um, an average paper will have about 100 to 120 very straightforward questions based on concepts that you should be able to answer. The remaining 60 to 80 questions. Out of that, there will be 20 that are very new. They may be recent advances. They may be based off some random research paper or some study, which you are very, very unlikely to know. And then the ones in between are going to be just a level higher than the concepts that we know. And these are the target for questions that you have to try and give a guess in the exam. So by now you would know that the best approach to guessing questions is to first eliminate options that are definitely wrong. And most people say कि if you have eliminated at least one option, you should attempt the question. But I slightly disagree with that because INI has a bigger penalty for getting questions wrong. In NEET, it's plus 4 minus 1. In INA, it's plus 1 minus 1 by 3. So 33% of a question is got wrong. So it's sometimes it is better to just leave the question alone. In that case, what you can do is, because you have sections of 50 questions, your approach is to finish your first read of those 50 questions as soon as possible. You have 45 minutes per section. So within half an hour, ideally, you should be able to go through those 50 questions, and you should have marked the ones that are fairly straightforward. You can leave around 10 or 15 that you're not sure about for review. And then now you have 15 minutes to solve 10 questions. And you should be able to work something out. Something will click eventually, and you will be able to get that answer. And so guessing is a semi-acquired skill. Some people are just naturally very good guessers, and that is definitely improved on when you give tests. When you go through GTs, you go through your guessing accuracy. For some people, guessing does not work out at all, and in that case, you should not guess more than what is harmful for you. um Apart from that, so like when I say INA is a mindset game, you have to be in the absolute right frame of mind when giving the exam. And so I have the perfect example for this. I mean, so when I was preparing, my highest rank in GTs was in the 30s. That was the INI mock. And before that, I was in the hundreds, I was in 200s, 500s even. I used to see this one particular fellow who used to get within the top three ranks in every BTR TND, every BTR GT, every Marrow GT. Also, his name was there, and I was in total awe of this guy, because like how are you so consistent getting 170, 180 corrects in GTs? And I'm like, okay, this guy is pakka, like top 10 in November INI. And then INI came around, and his rank had gone to 600s or something, which is quite shocking. And that means that just goes to say that your performance in GTs, your performance in TNDs, it does not mean anything in the main exam. Nothing from there determines what your rank is. It's ultimately, it's whether you can show up on that day physically and mentally. You can definitely outdo your opposition, your competition. And obviously, it is kind of scary when you see all these performances from all over India. But I definitely think not everyone is giving those GTs genuinely. I mean, I don't have proof. It's just something that I'm thinking. So it's nothing to be freaked out about. Just know that GTs do not determine your final rank. GTs are for you to compare your previous, preparation with how you are now, to look for any improvement. That's the only purpose of GTs. Apart from that, now that you're in the end stage, if you should be already doing this, increase your GT frequency. Make sure you're done with PYQs, and also when you're giving GTs, try to simulate the real exam environment. And by that I mean absolutely no distractions. Avoid any bathroom break, or water break, because in the main exam, if you're going to take a bathroom break, you're going to lose 10 to 15 minutes. So train yourself, and you need to be mentally there for 3 hours. And our attention spans are already screwed with social media and whatnot. But you have to train yourself to stick it through that period in the exam. Apart from that, you have to be your best supported. Now self-doubt is going to creep in. I definitely dealt with a lot of self-doubt, especially after NEET, when things did not go my way. I was in a very, very low position, but ultimately I was the one who picked myself up. I mean, I had people around me who believed in me, but all of that doesn't matter if you can't trust yourself to get what you want. You have to believe that you are putting in the work, and and trust me when I say that hard work always gets rewarded. There is no substitute for hard work. It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you have to be putting in the hours, you have to be putting in the effort, and it really, really does produce a result at the end. And times may feel tough, but let me tell you, preparation phase is probably one of the best phases, in your career, because you are not going to get a time like this again. You've just finished MBBS, which was hopefully very good for you, and now you're stuck alone. Prep phase, you get to determine your sleep schedule, your routine, your whether you're going to the gym. um you know Everything is in your control. You lose all control the moment you join residency. And there is definitely going to be some pressure, especially if you see your batchmates and all already starting PG and you're behind. But it's okay, because this is your life. And do not ever compare your situation with any others. It's okay if you take a little more time to get into PG. It's okay if you take a little more time to get into residency. Just know that this is your life. And your real career begins. And after that, you're not going to have this much time to yourself. So you should be enjoying this phase. Enjoying doesn't mean not studying. It means appreciating, building your own routine if you don't already have one. It's about learning discipline. It's about setting goals for yourself, um, developing good habits, and all of that good stuff. And with IPL going on right now, I am a huge cricket fan, and let me say that IPL definitely affected my preparation for May INI. But that is not an excuse, guys, because IPL comes every year, and you can always watch IPL later, but you need to put it aside. So don't let that distract you. You will have to make sacrifices. It's going to be tough, but every minute matters at this stage. People have been asking me about new resources that have come up, and whether you need to shift to those new resources. See, like, there's no point starting something new this late. So just trust in the preparation that you've already put in. Your focus now should be on solidifying what you have already read. So you would have read some material, some main notes, some RR or BTR. At this point, you need to make sure you're reading it again and again, that you're not missing anything from your preparation. That is enough. Don't try to do anything too new, or anything wild. It will not work out. You're not going to retain that much. Your goal should be more of questions and less of reading at this stage. You should have completed your reading a month or so ago. Now, the last 3 weeks can be spent doing questions, doing PYQs, doing previous year papers. And then after that, you can go into subject wise tests if you already have a schedule. Yeah, so more of testing, less of reading at this stage. That's all I can think about right now. I think I will just go to the chat box. I hope I wasn't rambling. I hope some of this was useful to you guys. So yeah, I get asked, what is the best thing to do in the last 20 days? So revise notes or do T&Ds? Okay, so that's an interesting question. The thing is, T&Ds don't take a lot of time. So T&D max duration is 1 hour, and it's 1 hour of testing for some 80 odd questions, which is okay. So you should give T&Ds. But the discussion video is huge. I mean, if you're talking about BTR, the discussion video goes on for 3 hours or more. So don't watch the entire discussion video. You do not have that time. And don't attend it live. Especially don't watch the TND discussion video live. Watch it recorded. Speed it up, and only watch the questions that are important or relevant to you, because you will know some answers. So yeah, revising notes. Yes, you can revise. You can read, but make sure you're also solving. Solving gives you more of an advantage than reading always, because you're not writing a theory paper, you're solving MCQs in the exam. Yeah, how to deal with stress. So stress is huge, and you need I was fortunate to have a good support system, and I hope that you guys can also find a support system, whether it be your family, a partner, or your friends. Make sure you have someone you can vent out to. I definitely had someone to do that too. uh you know eh, Talk to your friends, definitely. If you're all in the same boat, have a video call. It's absolutely okay. Speak for half an hour, and I'm sure that your stress gets washed away the moment you see your friends. It's like, friends mean everything. So that, apart from that, people have meditation techniques. I definitely had my I would be watching YouTube in between my breaks, and that would also help clear stress. So, everyone has their own coping methods, and I hope that you have found yours by now. But yeah, ultimately, having a very good support system is one of the best things that can help you deal with stress. Then, yeah, self doubt and FOMO. So let me tell you, this FOMO is very real. So the things that I mean, the resources I used were primarily Marrow and PTR. But Marrow, I didn't do main notes. I only did RR and then all the questions. And then BTR I've done. So I was having FOMO because I know a lot of people have done dams, and I know, Prep Ladder. People have used Prep Ladder, and people have good things to say about dams in Prep Ladder. And I had FOMO because I've seen my batchmates do main notes since third year, since second year, while I didn't have that kind of preparation. So I thought I wasn't, up to their level. But truthfully, it doesn't matter. See, no two INI toppers have had the exact same method of preparation. There is no one solution to getting a good rank, and it doesn't matter which material you're using, as long as you're using some quality material. And it's safe to say that most of the materials that exist out there are quality materials, whether it's Marrow dams, prep, BTR, etc., etc. They are all good. But ultimately, beyond reading those materials, it's about how much you solve. And the Marrow's Q bank is of course really good. BTR's TNDs are very good. Dams, I used to give CBTs; those are also very good. So your testing matters more than what you read. So don't think too much about FOMO. It's impossible to read every single resource. Obviously, there are some almost non-negotiables. For instance, it is my personal opinion that you should do Preeti Sharma's microbiology, because I have not found a better microbiology source than hers. But that opinion may not be shared by everyone. So it's ultimately what works best for you, and that is the only thing that matters. Um, okay, and self doubt is real, and it's okay to have it. Self doubt occurs to everyone. It happened to me also. It's there. Just put it aside. It's okay. You let the result speak for itself. Okay. Everyone gets stressed in the exam, by the way. And, stress, a small amount of stress is a good thing. So, stress will get your adrenaline going, it will get that brain working. It will get some things out of your subconscious. Things that you have read 2, 3 years back will suddenly come out because of stress. So, it's okay. A baseline level of stress is acceptable in the exam. So, should we do PYQs again of just aims or neat as well? Yeah, PYQs should have already been done by now, in my opinion. If you've not done them, then definitely do them now. If you are using Marrow Bank, for instance, there are those custom modules which are arranged by subject. They should be done. PYQs are non-negotiable for INI. Some PYQs are repeated as it is. So when you have that kind of thing going on, then there is really no question about it. Make sure you've done all PYQs. If not PYQs, at least PY topics will come back. How many years papers? Marrow has till 2017, I think. That is good enough. Don't need to go beyond that. Yeah. Okay. Exam day. Very important. So, what happened in November INI was people got exam centers all over the place, and that included me. My exam center was 10 hours from where I lived. So I think one important thing is the day of exam needs to go smoothly for you. So that involves some level of preparation. So since my center was 10 hours away, I went there 2 days in advance because I did not want to be traveling the day before the exam, because anything can go wrong on on that day before exam. So I got there 2 days early and I started preparing there so that on the day of exam I just have to go in an auto. It's 5 minutes away and it would go smooth. So I would recommend that if INI does that this year also, if it gives you centers that are far away, go early, get a place, and get a hotel room, put in a little bit of money, and sit and study. That last day should not be spent traveling at all. On the exam day, usually you will be too stressed to sleep for too long, but try to sleep. Try to get at least 6 7 hours of sleep, and don't change anything. Don't change tea. Don't If you are a coffee drinker, drink a normal amount of coffee. Do not stop drinking coffee, and do not overdose on coffee either, otherwise you'll have palpitations in the exam. So don't change anything, and because you do not want to try something new just before the exam. Have a light meal, avoid too many fluids, and you can read a little bit, but ideally just stop reading half an hour or 40 minutes before the exam. Try to just clear up your mind. Try to be in a good headspace. Again, that matters more than what you've read, because if you're not in a good headspace, you're not going to bring out anything that you've read. Those are the main tips for exam day. So yeah, again, it all comes down to mindset. It comes down to how you're able to handle that exam stress. Minimizing negative marks, yeah. So I went in with the goal of, I mean, this minimizing negative marks is something that is not decided on exam day. It's something that takes months in advance. And So that's the thing. So my learning from May INI was, I was attempting too many. I was trying to guess too many, and I was getting a lot of questions wrong. I had to actively make an effort to leave questions in GTs. Like I set a minimum of 10 questions to leave. Initially, I had to force myself to leave those questions, even though, I really, really wanted to guess it because my ego would not let me, leave 10 questions. You have to force yourself. You have to train yourself that it's okay. And actually, when you leave questions and you see your result, it's not so bad because you've avoided those negatives, and that negatives avoiding those negatives will also push up your rank a little bit. So that's when I realized it's okay to leave questions, and that is one way you avoid negatives. Apart from that, there will always be small, small twists in the question. Which of these is least likely, or which of these is not. Picking up those keywords is something you get with practice. But actually, Ames also has highlighted those words, so I think it makes it a little easier for us. Um, Yeah, so you want to get a radio seat in INI. Um, Ideally, that analysis you should be doing not now. Now it's too late to analyze, but there'll be some counseling apps. So just go through that. I think with if you do not have any other category or reservation as such, probably sub 200 rank. I really don't know because I was never trying for radio. Yeah, so I don't really have much of an idea, but that's what I said. You have to have a goal in mind and try to find out what kind of rank it will get you to your goal. There is no minimum. I mean, okay, technically there is a minimum to attempt per section. So I would say if again, so no one can predict what the paper is like. For instance, November 2024 INI was the first one that I gave, and it was very easy compared to the usual standard of INI. November 24 was quite easy. So if you had attempted even all 200, your chance of getting a decent score was quite good. And I got some 144 corrects even with minimal preparation that time. But then May INI was much tougher, and you had to leave questions. I got more correct in May INI, but my rank was much. I got lesser corrects, but my rank was better because it was a tougher paper. So my advice to you is, in general, try to go for more than 190 corrects if you're aiming for that top 100 rank. But ultimately, it depends on what paper is given to you on that day. And if it is a very tough paper, it is okay to leave more questions. And the inspiration for this came to me when I was going through INI SS ranks. And for cardiology, I believe so they have 80 questions, and rank one in INI SS cardiology had scored some 38 out of 80. So it is unbelievably tough at that level. Again, that paper is also set by AIMS. This is also set by AIMS. So it must be that you are supposed to leave some questions that you will never answer. It's okay. And rank one for me, I had got it at 162 correct. So it means that I could have theoretically left 30 questions, and if I had gotten everything else right, I would be rank one. Yeah, so that's a good question. The question is, why do you think you beat the people who did main notes from early on? That's well, I can't really compare because I don't know how they prepared. But I did not do main notes. But what I did during MBBS was I was definitely someone who listened to class, and so I was building concepts. Even though I wasn't doing marrow per se, I was definitely learning, and I think those concepts helped me build upon them during preparation. So I definitely did put in some work during MBBS, even though it wasn't through straightforward preparation source. I was reading and I was learning. So as long as your basic concepts are good, which is important for INI because it tests pre-paraclinical more than clinical. If you have those concepts, you will be able to find preparing a little bit easier. But I can't really compare with them because I don't really know how they prepared. Maybe that goes to show you can't remember everything in main notes. So ultimately, RR is usually quite sufficient for the exam. Uh, yeah. Then tried everything, still stuck at 50th percentile. Can you explain? See, that is a very vague thing. There are multiple reasons as to why GT score can be stuck. And the most common one, I think, it is lack of revision. And, and that is something that you have to analyze your GTs. If you're getting the same topic wrong every time, then you know what topic to read. But if you're getting multiple topics and each time it's a different topic, then that means your overall prep was not good to begin with. Uh, but yeah, analyzing stock GT scores is it's not easy to do. I fortunately did not deal with it too much. I did not have a phase of stock GT scores. It was there briefly for a couple of weeks. But what worked for me was definitely revisions. The more cycles of revision that I did, I definitely saw an improvement there. And also introducing BTR to my preparation in the end stage gave me that boost of some 5 to 10 questions in the very end. Yes, okay, yes. So 130 to 140 corrects in GTs is roughly where I was 2 months before November, or 3 months before, more like before NEET. Before NEET, I was stuck at around 140 corrects, and my NEET I got 150 something corrects. So at that part, what had worked for me was BTR because I basically needed a concise revision material, and Marrow was too big for me. Apart from that, I realized I identified topics which were dragging me down. One of them was microbiology because I could not remember anything, and in that sense, finding Preeti Sharma ma'am's videos was the boost that I needed. So if you are able to identify specific subjects that are going wrong, then you need to probably change up your material. Although, 3 weeks before the exam is, it's a little tough to do that. I would not, I mean, if you are able to find some concise material, then go for it. Don't, try main videos or anything at this stage. You're not going to get significant benefit. Um, so apart from that, yeah, it's okay. Like, 140 corrects in GTs. Again, does first of all, GTs do not define your final rank. Second of all, GTs are usually harder than the main exam, in my experience. So 140 corrects in GTs could translate to 145 or even 150 on a good day. And 150 corrects will take you within top 500, top 500 in INI. Last 15 days, only BTR is enough. I mean, it depends. You cannot see this question of whether BTR is enough. It's quite troubling to ma'am also. So the thing is, BTR has to be supplemented with questions. And if you have done BTR well before, if you've done multiple cycles before, then before the exam, BTR is enough because by now you would have annotated your notes and you already know what topics you're good at. You're going to be skipping through them. You're at this point, you're not going to read every single page. Your goal is to go through to skip through pages, find the topics that are confusing to you, and have a look, read them once or twice. So BTR can be enough if you have done enough BTR before. If you're starting with BTR now, then your benefit is not going to be that much. What to read immediately before attempting GTs or exams? So this is also something that I changed after my NEET. So I had maintained something called an error notes. So what I did was every GT I was analyzing, and so there will be silly mistakes. If it was a silly mistake, I would not note it down because I know that I already knew the concept. If it was a confusing concept, or if it is some uh, a list that I have to memorize, which is high yield, then I would actually maintain a separate notes for that, which I had organized subject wise. And before giving a subject wise test, I would read the error notes from that specific subject. And before GTs, I would spend around 2 hours. Like I used to give GTs at 9 a.m. So at 6:30 a.m., I'd start reading the error notes before the GT, just to brush up on those confusing topics. And your error notes should not be that big. It should be maximum, 3 to 4 pages for for short subjects. For integrated systems, it can be some 6, 7 pages per subject. It should be something that you can read through very quick. So building this error notes helped me because again on the day of exam, that was the last thing I was reading. So again, 2 hours before my main I was reading this error notes only. I didn't touch any other notes. So if that is my opinion on what you should read before the exam. What were my strong subjects? So I was strong with um, oh, good question, actually. I was decently strong with pharmacology when it came to concepts, not so much when it came to memorization. Apart from that, I was quite strong in OG and biochem also. Biochem, for some reason, I had a very good knack for those cycles and pathways. I had read well in my first year, so that was a strong subject. I really liked biochem and pharm, which I know a lot of people don't like. Medicine actually used to be a weak subject, which is weird because now I'm doing a medicine residency. But yeah, no, BTR was one of the things that helped me tackle medicine. So BTR was quite good for medicine. So the question is, if one has done BTR alone and PYQs only, is it enough for NEET and INI? Um, can't say. I mean, BTR plus PYQs. If you are doing with TNDs and all that extra, there are some extra things in BTR. If you do those, you will get to about 75% of where you need to be. But PYQs alone will not get you there because there will be other concepts that have not been tested yet. So ideally, you should be doing a complete question bank with BTR. But yeah, it will get you to a large chunk will be covered with BTR and PYQs, but it will not get you to 100%. I would say around 75 to 80% can be achieved with BTR and PYQs if you're doing it with the TNDs. TNDs are a very important part of BTR. So the question is, in the last 15 days, did you solve questions or gave GTs or just the theory from BTR? How you found the last BTR TND before INI, and do I suggest doing it right now as well? Yeah, so um, no, no, no. BTR, again, BTR was a concise material, so it is quite easy for me to go through. I was reading basically my strategy with BTR was the schedule is given to you. It is a subject-wise schedule. So I would do the BTR from the schedule, and I would try to finish it as fast as possible. After that, if I had time, I would go through the corresponding RR notes from Marrow if I had the time. And then my goal was just to complete solving questions, do all PYQs from that topic. And then if I had more time, then I would do subject-wise tests on Marrow, the old subject-wise tests, or I would go and do the Q bank. It's more of solving towards the end. How I found the last BTR TND before INI. Yeah, that time also my rank was some 40s or 80 or something. My TND ranks weren't particularly good. And again, I'm saying I'm pretty sure there will be people who are, not very genuine with their answering. That goes for any platform, any test, and it doesn't matter. So don't ever think about the rank. Uh, but yeah, TNDs have a lot of new questions, which is good. Some new concepts are there. And with TNDs, I feel like you can achieve completion of that subject. ENT and OFTA. Oh yeah. So ENT was also a strong subject for me because I feel like the anatomy in ENT is actually it's not very easy to understand, but it just makes sense. It was a little logical to me. Yeah, I really liked ENT. OFTAL, I struggled for a long, long, long time. And one thing that helped is if you are using Marrow, I definitely liked Utsav sir's videos. The entire Oftal module in Marrow is very good if you can watch, if you are able to watch. Now it's a little late for that. But if you are struggling with one or two concepts, especially refraction, it is worth a watch. It is worth investing 2 to 3 hours in that specific topic. Um, yeah, so that's all I have to suggest about ENT and Oftal. BTR also does quite a good job. Some good mnemonics are also there. But if you want to try and develop some concepts, for me, Marrow main videos did help. Yeah, I'm from 19 batch, and yeah, I hope the session helped you guys. I don't know if I've been talking and talking, and I'm not sure if I'm being clear enough for you guys. Yeah, I have addressed everything in the chat. Investing time neat PG is a long time away. You have plenty of time. If again, that's why I'm saying your goal should be clear. If your goal is neat PG, then use INI as a practice test, and you should definitely give INI because what if you do well? Then there are advantages to joining in INI also. For instance, you get juniors after 6 months. Then your salaries are usually better in INIs. Facilities are usually better in INIs. So I feel like everyone should always give INI, even if your odds are not so great. You never know if it's a good day for you. Yeah, so investing time in OFTA, you have time. Go invest. You have until August, and it's only April, May, June, July, August, 4 months. What I did in the last 15 days, I've already answered. So if you can go back and watch the recorded part, I think you will get the answer. Um, till INI, then we'll go to the yeah, I mean, if your target is NEET PG, then I mean, have a schedule. Make sure it is planned after INI, because obviously post exam you will want to de-stress. But you're saying your goal is NEET PG, so you should not be stopping after INI. So yeah, RR again, RR serves most needs, and if you can supplement RR with questions, you will achieve about 85 to 90% of where you need to be. What I did in my MBBS days mostly, well, I'll tell you that I did not prepare for competitive exams in MBBS. I chilled a lot. For theory exams, I studied about preparation, and I feel like you should enjoy college life. It only comes once, and I'm glad that I spent time. I had fun. Yeah, my MBBS days. See, my studying was mostly limited to classes. So when I was in class, almost all subjects I was paying attention. I was learning something, and I think that kind of base has helped me in the long run. But after going back from college, it's not like I was sitting and reading for exams. I was just chilling. Is it too late to annotate notes with PYQs for NEET PG? No, it is not too late. You can still finish PYQs will not take that long, and you don't have to annotate every single thing into your notes. Again, don't waste time annotating, because the more you add into your annotations, the more time you have to spend reading it the second time and the third time. It's not worth it. Just whatever concepts that you feel are most important, which you think you want to see again, only that has to be annotated. It's not you that you annotate every single mistake into your notes. Then your notes becomes too big. Then there's no point of having notes only. Okay, it's been about 1 hour since I started, um, and I'm not sure if I feel like majority issues have been addressed. But yeah, if there is one takeaway from this, I just want to say it's primarily mindset for your exam. And the more that you revise, I would say this last 3 weeks, give it your maximum. Put in more hours than you've ever done before. And by the time the exam comes, just by sheer hard work, you will feel like you've done what you can, and you will feel like you deserve a good rank. And just having that mindset can go a very long way in the exam. Um, so yeah, that's about it. Thank you for coming, the around 20 odd or 30 odd people who joined live. And, I hope you were doing something like eating and not like, wasting this time. Uh, and most people will be watching this recorded. So, yeah, you can reach out if you've come in through the Chasing the Stars group. I will be there in and about. So, I will try to address your queries. All the best, guys. Just don't lose yourself. Okay. Stay. You have to be putting in. This is the time to push. So don't freak out. Don't give up. Do not ever, ever, ever give up, because you never know what's coming. Uh, just trust the process. People say trust the process, and you should. You really should trust the process, because destiny will have something in it for you. You just have to believe that there's something out there. So 3 weeks, I do hope to hear some sort of good news from you guys. Uh, and yeah, we'll end it there. Bye. All the best.